Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. I am your host, Phil. All right, let's take a look at the news we are diving into today. So, of course, we're going to take a look at the announcement of an announcement of an announcement that was a flop. No surprise there. Some hopium, right? SEC updates on the crypto structure market bill. Morgan Stanley looks like they are going to be opening up one of their platforms for Bitcoin and crypto trading. Paper Bitcoin Summer. That's right. We've got more updates. Tether. And it looks like Brazil has entered the ring as well. Got a new wallet that is leveraging Cashu. Cashu. That's who. Yeah, they're looking at making eCash a breeze. And looks like we've got a major Russian online retailer that is now going to accept Bitcoin payments. We're going to dive into how they are doing that. Guys, you know the deal. Going to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and then we're going to dive into all the fun. Let's do it. Here we go, guys.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
Okay, so you probably saw 20 or 30 different versions of this massive breaking, big news coming, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so in the end, an absolute giant nothing burger, a nothing burger of an announcement, right? It's Ian Calderon, who's candidate for governor of California. There you go. Always been a leader on technology. It's time for us to get back to our roots and make California the undisputed leader on Bitcoin. That's right. Throwing in some sound effects for this because that's how sad that is. So look, maybe people can help me out with this. Even though this is about Ian Calderon, doesn't it seem strange that Dennis Porter is using his picture, or is that him? Because I mean, I looked at Ian quickly, and I don't know if this is an AI rendition of Ian or an AI rendition of Dennis Porter. Either way, it doesn't make a difference. It is a giant nothing burger. I saw some of the comments back, where he believes that it's not. Look, the reality is that, and this is what I've said on several occasions. It's the bed of Procrustes analogy. And if you don't know what that is, I definitely suggest you look it up, right? So we've got a government that understands let me rephrase that. We've got a government that understands or believes that that they can simply take Bitcoin and shoehorn it into its own little gated community, right? Its own little sandbox. And this is exactly what they're going to try to do. Right. And so for us, right, the peons, this stuff sounds good. Oh, yeah, look at us. We're getting support from our representatives and all that stuff. Guys, I hate to say this, but it is all self-serving. Okay. It's all self-serving. And I understand that some people are trying to frame this as like, oh, it's the Trojan horse. It's not the Trojan horse. Okay. I'm sorry. A bunch of representatives trying to garner your votes because they pretend to like Bitcoin or pretend to support Bitcoin. This is not the Trojan horse. Sorry. Either way, that announcement was kind of a giant nothing burger. And we are going to move on from that, right? And we're going to dive right into some hopium. That's right. We've got some hopium. Let's do it. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says they're working on passing a little more can kicking, huh? The crypto market structure bill. Let's see what he had to say.
To Congress acting on this. I think it's important that we have a market structure bill, and we are actually helping. We were helping with the House, and now we're helping with the Senate as far as technical assistance on questions of securities law and that sort of thing, and gaps that we see that need to be filled. So we're going to continue doing that and provide all sorts of assistance. We're also part of the President's Working Group on Financial Markets that came out with a report here about a month or so ago, and so we're really stand behind that report.
Okay, I'm not gonna make you sit here through the whole minute 22 seconds of this guy fumbling. Look, I've sat in plenty of these meetings. I'm sure lots of you guys have too, right? They got nothing, right? They haven't really made any headway, so this just becomes a whole lot of, yeah, we're doing what we said we were doing. It's looking like we're still doing what we said we were doing. It's okay. When they get there, they're going to get there. But until they get there, it's a whole bunch of nothing. It truly is a whole bunch of nothing. But it's okay. It's okay. Check this out. We've got more Hopium, more solid Hopium here. Look at this. Morgan Stanley partners with Zero Hash to offer Bitcoin and crypto to their eTurd clients. Yep, as you could imagine, by me calling it eTurd, you already know that I have an eTurd account. And yeah, because, before Bitcoin, that's what I did. I bought equities, right? Dividend paying stocks, and I just kept on reinvesting. That was my way of getting out of the quote unquote rat race, right? Just pour everything I could into dividend paying stocks. So I can say this, because I have eTurd, I will be looking, I will be checking to see when they offer Bitcoin trading, and I'll let you guys know, what options they actually give. The first thing, obviously, as soon as I saw this, the first thing that popped into my mind is, are they going to let you withdraw? Right? Like, I mean, let's face it. If you're a Bitcoiner, that's the only thing. I mean, first of all, you're most likely, if you're a Bitcoiner, you're not going to be buying your Bitcoin from eTurd. I keep calling it eTurd. I'm sorry. It's what it is. But yeah, you're not going to be buying your Bitcoin from there anyways. But I'm still curious, right? Like, I still want to know, are they actually going to let you withdraw this stuff? We'll see. Anyways, okay, moving on. We've got, that's right. I'm trying, guys. I am trying so hard to give more Hopium and not sound realistic, because I know it. I get it, right? Being realistic doesn't make anybody happy, right? So we're going to try to be a little less realistic. I can't help being cynical. Anyways, okay. So speaking of things that are doing absolutely nothing and are going to make things worse, the SEC is working on an innovation exception. As if the shitcoiners have been really, as if their feet had been held to the flames up until now, right? Right? Like they've had so much stringent regulation blocking them from scamming noobs. This is what they need. Oh God, it's such ridiculousness. So the SEC is working on an innovation exception that would let crypto firms immediately launch products. Spoiler alert, SEC. My screen isn't working. No, spoiler alert, SEC. They've already been doing this. They've been doing this for years. They've been wrecking noobs, rug pulling all kinds of people. It's just, you're watching a LARP, right? I mean, to a certain extent, it's gaslighting, right? Because let's face it, if you're somebody who, quote unquote, got into the crypto space and got totally wrecked, right? Like back in 2017 or 2018, and you're reading this, you're like, what was happening anyways? Like, how were you helping me? And of course, this always has to be said. I am definitely not a fan of the state. I don't actually care, right, if they go and put in regulation or not. I am somebody who, I bought a bunch of shit coins and I got wrecked back in 2017, right? I participated in ICOs and I got wrecked. And what did that do, right? I learned. I decided to dive in deeper and I started to learn why I got wrecked. Personal responsibility. That's all it is, and I get it, right? Everybody's situation is different. But this whole idea that the government is going to regulate this stuff, if you think the government's going to save you, just go back to the previous financial crises that we've had. The government, first of all, the rating agencies endorsed the people that were, and the companies that were shilling products that were actually going to make people poorer and that were going to fail. So just buy Bitcoin only. It's so sad. So sad that we have to go through this over and over again. But that's what it is, because Everybody wants to make the new Bitcoin, and everybody wants you to join in their little walled garden. Okay, we've got some more Hopium, though, guys. Don't worry. Solid freaking Hopium. Let's go into it here. We're going to take a look at, you know what, maybe before we go there. Yeah, guys, I don't know how many of you guys know about Cashu. I'm just learning about this, right? Macadamia wallet. Included is the new iMessage extension that allows you to send eCash to other users in a sleek and approachable way. No more wall of gibberish. And you know, I know that some more hardened Bitcoiners will tell you, you know, that there needs to be this barrier to entry in terms of a user experience and, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, if they don't know how to use it, that's their problem. You know, but at the same time, you want everybody using Bitcoin and you want Bitcoin to flourish. But yeah, you should be able to sit there, figure out how to run your scripts and, you know, how to compile code and yeah. All right, good luck with that shit. Okay. The average person not doing any of that shit. They're not doing any of that. They just want to use the product. So this is cool. I consider this stuff wins. Take a look at the little video here of how this is working. Sorry, there's no sound on this video. Yes, Roman, it is eCash, correct. Yeah, I know it's custodial. It's right. It's okay. It's a start. I'm not saying using custodial is great. I don't think it is, but I do think it is at the very least. I'll take it in terms of a good start. I'd rather see people doing this than shilling shares of worthless companies so that they can buy Bitcoin, right? I'd rather actually see people developing. But again, right? Free country. Everybody's free to do what they want. It's fantastic. They're free to go and shill you shares of worthless companies. I'm free to call it out. And the builders are free to build. I got to do more research on it, Roman. I think it is it's a mint, right? Like a Fedi mint, but it's not Fedi mint. It's an eCash mint. I need to do more research on it, that's for sure. But yeah, I think it is similar to Lightning, but not the same. Anyways, all right. Still good stuff, though. Still definitely good stuff. Okay, moving on. Let's go to wild berries, right? Out in Russia. That's pretty interesting stuff. Okay, let's take a look at wild berries. I actually do consider this. I do consider this to be some pretty solid Hopium, though. You know, Russia's largest online retailer, Wild Berries, launches Bitcoin and crypto payments in Belarus. That's pretty cool. It's not bad. All right, let's dive into it. I don't know much about this company. It's pretty much the first time I ever heard of them. So Wild Berries processed around 750,000 orders daily, over 48,000 employees, and dominates Russia's $30 billion e-commerce sector. In 2023, it handled about 3 million orders with sales value reaching $28 billion. This is not small. This is not small. This is actually pretty decent. I'm very curious to see how much of their volume, though, in payments, how much of that volume, translate into Bitcoin payments, right? That is going to be the real key. So now they're implementing this. It's going to be very interesting to revisit this story in, let's say, in 3 to 6 months, right? And see what numbers we actually, like, are people actually using it? You know, I think that would be cool. So yeah, who's actually going to be, obviously I wanted to know who is going to be handling these payments. It's a company I never heard of. It's a company out of Belarus, crypto payments processor called Whitebird. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of this thing. It's a centralized exchange. Doesn't surprise me. I guess I was just curious. You know, I'm always kind of, it's going to sound corny, right? But I'm always kind of hopeful to see like one of these companies be like, we're using BTC Pay server, you know, and I'm like, yes, it's happening. But unfortunately, yeah, just some centralized exchange. Yeah, it's kind of too bad. All right, moving on, guys. We got some more. We've got some more good stuff because obviously there's Paper Bitcoin Summer, right? You can't have a day of news without Paper Bitcoin Summer. And as you could imagine, we've got boom. Everybody knows this already, right? Tether seeks 500 billion valuation, would rank among world's most valuable private firm. That right there is a huge shock, I am sure. I am sure. Anyways, stablecoin issuer would become one of the world's most valuable private companies, ranking alongside Sam Altman's OpenAI and Elon Musk, SpaceX. Bloomberg reports that Tether is aiming to raise between 15 and 20 billion for about 3% of the company, right? This is how you get that $500 billion valuation. Now, it seems like maybe there's some messaging conflict, right? Because there's this news that came out that they're planning to go public, and raising capital. But then Bo Hines, CEO of Tether's newly created U.S. unit, said at a conference in Seoul that the stablecoin firm has no plans to raise money. Either raising money or you're not, right? There's kind of no in between. So look, you know how a few times you may have heard me say that, you know, it's there's a certain small group of people that got their $500,000 Bitcoin, so to speak, right? They were able to get that $500,000 Bitcoin purchasing power price. So I've revised this, and I've come to believe that Paper Bitcoin Summer has been especially wonderful for one person, Howard Lutnick. It's been especially wonderful because, right, who do you think is one of the major shareholders of Tether? Cantor Equity Partners. That's Howie's company, right? It's great summer for Howie. He's thrilled. Him and the Lutnick family, they're doing pretty well this summer. Doing pretty well. All right. More Paper Bitcoin Summer. Do I pronounce it like OranjeBTC? I don't know. Sorry, guys, I'm killing it. OranjeBTC become Brazil's largest publicly traded Bitcoin treasury firm with B3 listing. Yay. Okay. What are they going to do here? Okay. So they are set to go public in early October. Okay. I'm curious to see what happens when they go public, of course. Definitely, like, I get it, right? You know, people are like, yay, you know, Bitcoin adoption. I just think it's parlor tricks to raise money. And hey, look, fair game, right? It is absolutely a fair game. They can totally do that. You know, they totally can. All right. So this, I got to say, this video kind of worried me. This was actually shared from a tweet from Eli Najar, and he's I believe he runs I don't know if he runs Brains Pool or works for Brains Pool. I don't remember, but either way, this video of Christine Lagarde talking about digital IDs, I got to tell you, this definitely made me happy that I started accumulating Bitcoin. Let's take a listen.
People are a little worried about what will happen to them with the digital euro.
They should be.
Can you encourage them? Why is the digital euro good for people like you and me?
A digital currency where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly...
It's been piloted in China.
Now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
Wrong. Who do you think it's going to be most useful for? The people who can implement the rules for the digital currency. Like, it's not going to be especially good for the elite. Really? It's not going to be good for the people who implement the rules? You sure about that? That is completely insane. I'm floored, right? I'm completely floored by the ridiculousness of these comments. However, I am not surprised. But part of what makes this especially clown world-ish is the fact that it is a convicted felon that is running the ECB that is telling you how a digital currency is just going to make things better. But it's going to make things better for everyone, right? It's not, and you'll notice the first thing that she was talking about is specifically how it's not good for, you know, it's not going to be especially good for the elite, right? It's going to be the same for everyone. That is complete freaking nonsense. That is pure dystopian panopticon. on the way. And the only thing I can think of is I keep trying to figure out which dystopian movie or dystopian story are we really moving to? You know? Oh, wait, that's a good one. That's a good one, ACP. Why is the ACB taking phone calls like a morning radio show? Because they got to sell the sizzle, my dude. They've got to sell you the sizzle, right? You like, if there's anything I've learned is that the best prisoner is the one that demands their own shackles, right? Like, why would you painstakingly force somebody to do something they don't want to do when you can simply subversively convince them to think that they want something for themselves and they come and ask you for it? This is the type of crap. This is the type of brainwashing that we go through. Anyways, all right, guys, as you know, this is going to wrap up this particular daily episode of Pleb Underground. Thank you all so much for joining me. As you know, I am going to be back tomorrow. We're going to dive into a whole lot more news, a whole lot paper Bitcoin summer. I saw a whole bunch of stuff that came out today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy. Yeah, hodl before I go. Self-custody is the revolution. Damn right it is. They're going to try to convince you that it's not, but it is. All right, take it easy, guys.